microphone in your hand. It's working. It's all good. So let's talk about the Maddox injury and what you saw, and you were trying to explain it when we didn't hear you.
Yes, it looked to me that he, obviously flew across to make a tackle, and he came up holding his shoulder and was supporting his shoulder. And the concern was that he may have separated his shoulder, and that would be a separation either at the acromioclavicular joint or at the glenohumeral joint. He also may have fractured his humerus or his glenoid, or he may have suffered a rotator cuff tear. So I have no doubt he had an x-ray in the locker room tonight, and he'll have an MRI tomorrow. But they're so thin in their defensive backfield. And obviously Avonte Maddox is very fragile. He missed most of the year last year with the turf toe, and they could certainly ill use to lose him. And obviously a lot of young DBs there, and some miscommunications at the end, particularly that touchdown right in front of me where there was nobody covering the wide receiver.
That does not sound good. So let's talk about some injuries that we kind of missed last week because they were without 4 guys today. Let's talk about whether those guys, do you believe, knowing their injuries, will they be back for that Monday night game with a lot of time to heal up?
I'm pretty confident that Bradbury will be back. It takes there's 5 stages of concussion protocol, and it was just bad luck that the 2 games are so close together, 4 days apart. But what I hear is that Bradbury will be back, and they certainly could use him alongside Slay in the defensive backfield. The other guys that were surprising, Kenneth Gainwell seemed to play the whole game, but he was ruled out due to rib injuries. But I haven't heard there were any rib fractures, so I think he'll be back. And the big injury was Nakobe Dean, who was placed on an injured reserve. And the Eagles are very coy about not disclosing the nature of the foot injury, but it seems like it's not an Aaron Rodgers Achilles tear. We know that. It's probably not a Liz Frank injury. It may be just a strain of the foot, but obviously Nakobe being the signal caller, that's a problem. With Blankenship, he's another guy who finished the game last week, and we were unaware that he also had rib injury. So because we have this mini bye, I'm hoping that Blankenship will be back. Bradbury will pass concussion protocol, and Gainwell will join DeAndre Swift, who obviously had a game. I've been going to the game a long time. I don't remember somebody since Brian Westbrook who had such speed, cutting through holes and moving laterally. It was really amazing to watch.
Doctor, thanks again for joining us. I do want to ask you and follow up on those rib injuries. I know you're not treating these individual players, but when it does come to a general rib injury and the fact that you did have guys go back into the game last week against the Patriots, what is your optimism level when it comes to the idea of these guys being able to go come Monday night in Tampa against the Bucs? Are you feeling confident they'll be able to make a return by then?
I am. I don't believe there's any fractures of the ribs. They're muscles called the intercostal muscles, which get inflamed, and I know the training staff there is excellent. So it's basically a matter of pain relief. And so with ice and analgesics like Tylenol and Motrin and just range of motion, I'm confident from what I hear that these rib injuries are not those which involve fractures. And as far as I can tell, to extrapolate, I think that that Blankenship should be back, and that Gainwell should be back, and that luckily they have a long time. They missed 2 Sundays, so that duration should be very helpful with respect to these multiple injuries.
All right, sounds good, Doc. Thanks for staying up late with us. Dr. Bruce Grossinger right here on the JAKIB Media Pine Lehocky Eagles postgame show. Thanks, Dr. Bruce. We'll talk to you next week.
Nice. Bye-bye.
All right, there you go. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll close it out with some thoughts on what's ahead for the Eagles. They're 2-0. A lot of time before their next game in Tampa Bay. We'll analyze it after this on